Have you ever felt like you're just putting out fires? One problem after another, day after day. You wake up in the morning and immediately get swept into a never-ending stream of tasks, replying to messages, handling urgent issues, reacting to the world as if it's always on the attack. This is the trap of task-based thinking. It makes us see only what's right in front of us. We react instead of lead. We fix instead of prevent. And so, we live a busy life, without really moving forward. Strategic thinking, on the other hand, is the ability to step back and see the big picture. It asks the root question, where am I going and why? It doesn't frantically patch up individual problems. It rebuilds the entire system. And here's the key. Strategic thinking isn't a gift. It's a skill, trainable, like a muscle. We all crave a meaningful life, one with health, purpose, career, family, and legacy. But if we don't think long-term, we'll stay stuck in the short term. In this video, I'll share with you 13 foundational strategic ecosystems to help you start designing your life instead of just reacting to it. Watch till the end and don't skip a single strategy. And if you're ready to break free from the firefighting loop, leave a comment. Think long-term. Live differently before we get started. 1. Personal strategic analysis. Strategy doesn't begin with the outside world. It begins with you. No one can draw a map without knowing where they stand, just like no one can live with purpose without first daring to face themselves with brutal honesty. In Stoicism, this isn't just a suggestion, it's a way of life. Epictetus once wrote, "This is the essence of philosophy, that a man should live in such a way that his happiness depends as little as possible on external things." That's not just a lofty idea, it's a call to action. Turn inward, analyze the mechanics of your inner world before blaming the world outside. Crafting a life strategy works the same way. Before you set goals or build dreams, take time to do a personal SWOT analysis, not to beat yourself up, but to recognize your patterns. Your strengths aren't in a few scattered wins, but in the repeatable model behind them. Your weaknesses aren't just failures, they're the recurring mistakes you keep ignoring. Only when you see the chain can you break the cycle of failure. Look at Lou Gerstner, who was brought in to save IBM in 1993. Within 90 days, he didn't introduce anything flashy. No big initiatives. He simply redrew the company's SWOT. Cash was dwindling, the organization was shaky, but loyal customers and a strong brand remained. And instead of splitting the company as the old plan suggested, he kept IBM whole. That pivot saved the big blue elephant from collapse. That wasn't a win from creativity, but from relentless self-awareness. You can start the same way. Take 30 minutes. Write out your past 10 years in 3 columns: wins, losses, lessons. Then circle the repeating patterns. Do you keep procrastinating or quietly staying consistent? What patterns lie beneath the surface? The first step of strategy isn't action, it's clarity. Write it down. Don't let blind spots keep steering your life. 2. Strategic vision development. In battle, a soldier sees the enemy, a general sees the map. But a leader, whether of a company or of their own life, must see the destination, then chart the path backward. That is the foundation of strategic thinking. It doesn't start with, what do I have right now, but rather, what do I ultimately want? Amazon calls this philosophy working backwards. a technique the Prime team used to transform the entire logistics industry. They began with a fictional press release. From now on, customers will receive their packages within 2 days. At that time, they had no warehouses, no partners, no data. But having a clear vision gave every decision a filter. If it helped move closer to that press release, they did it. If not, they didn't. This is the art of backcasting, not predicting the future, but designing it. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That seemingly simple quote captures the essence of backcasting. Only when you can picture yourself at the finish line, calm, steady, and in control, can you choose the hard moves today without being swayed by easy temptations. So what should you do right now? Open your email. Write a letter to yourself dated May 1st, 2030. Imagine what you've accomplished by then. Write down 3 specific achievements. It could be, I just finished my 2nd book. I'm healthy and sleeping 7 hours a night. Or, I'm financially free, no debt, no worries. Then trace backward. To get there, what must you achieve in the next year? What must you build in the next 6 months? What must you start in the next 30 days? You don't need to know every step, but you do need to know the destination. The clearer the destination, the more decisive the journey. Next, we'll move on to the following idea. If vision is the destination, then your environment from people to physical space is the path. And sometimes, changing just one object on your desk can change your entire life. Don't miss it. 3. Strategic environment design. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, shared a simple experiment that changed the rhythm of his life. He didn't force himself to read. Instead of relying on willpower, he redesigned his environment. The TV remote was tucked away. A book was placed right on his pillow. And within a short time, the habit of reading, something he had always wanted, began to form naturally. No alarms, no iron will, just a small tweak in his space. This reveals a powerful principle. Behavior doesn't just come from motivation, it comes from structure. When what you want to do is placed right in front of you, and what you want to avoid is moved out of reach, you no longer have to wrestle with yourself every day. Willpower isn't the main fuel. The environment is the track that guides behavior. We don't need to be stronger, we need to be smarter. That's the essence of strategic environment design, the art of shaping the context so that the right actions happen, almost effortlessly. The Stoics understood this early on. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But to master themselves, they didn't fight their emotions or instincts head-on. They created conditions that made it easier to do the right thing. That's true freedom, not from willpower, but from structure. You don't need more discipline. You need fewer temptations. You don't need to resist Facebook. Just move the app to the second screen. You don't need to force yourself to work out. Just leave your running shoes by the door. The right cues, placed in the right spots, operate quietly in the background. One tweak, endless returns. The environment is the invisible frame that shapes your choices every day. You can ignore it and keep blaming yourself, or you can redesign it strategically. This isn't a minor detail, it's a major lever. Rewrite your workspace layout. Turn off phone notifications. Tape a sheet that says what matters most on your desk. These small things, repeated daily, become the silent force pulling you toward the life you actually want. Today's action: pick one trap you often fall into and one cue you want to nurture. Clear the trap and set the cue tonight. Don't wait on willpower. Design your life so you won't need it. 4. Resource optimization. We often measure resources by numbers. How much money is in the bank? How many hours in a day? But strategic thinkers don't see resources as coins. They see them as seeds. A small seed might seem worthless if you just hold it in your hand. But planted the right way, at the right time, in the right soil, it sprouts, grows, and becomes an entire garden. Time, skills, money, these aren't things to be spent. They're things to be planted. That's the difference between someone who merely survives and someone who designs their life. Strategic people understand that resources are always limited, but creativity in how we use them is limitless. Remember the story from 2008 when Airbnb was on the verge of collapse. The 3 founders had run out of money. They could have given up. But instead of complaining, they asked a very strategic question: what do we still have that we can use? They realized they had design skills, printing knowledge, and the US presidential election happening. The result: 2 handmade cereal boxes, Obama O's and Captain McCain's. Funny, timely, and clever. They sold out, earning $30,000. That bold move caught the attention of Paul Graham, founder of Y Combinator, who then invested in them. From one spontaneous idea, they turned that $30,000 into a multi-billion-dollar company. Not by magic, but by optimizing their resources. Stoicism teaches us it's not what you lack that holds you back, it's what you have but haven't used. Everyone has silent seeds, untapped skills, forgotten connections, unused items gathering dust. Strategic thinking doesn't begin with, "What am I missing?" It begins with, "What do I already have?" and "What can I plant in the next 90 days?" So pause today, look inward. You don't have to think big, just think right. Maybe you've got an old camera, some Photoshop skills, or past content writing experience you once dismissed as trivial. These aren't leftovers, they're seeds. The question is, how will you plant them? Don't let your resources stay asleep. Turn them into the first garden you grow with your own hands. In 90 days, what could bloom if you start right now? 5. Risk and uncertainty management. In a volatile world, uncertainty is nothing new, but how you respond to it, that's what determines whether you rise or fall. A Stoic doesn't avoid risk, nor do they blindly surrender to it. They confront it head-on and choose to play games where the downside is limited, but the upside could change their life. This is the mindset of asymmetric risk, a modern-day version of the Stoic principle premeditatio malorum. Ancient Stoics prepared themselves mentally by imagining worst-case scenarios. Today's strategic thinkers map out potential failures, not to give in to fear, but to choose the move that carries the least damage yet the highest potential. Take Netflix in 2007. They could have stayed comfortable, profiting from DVD rentals. But instead, they chose to disrupt themselves, investing in streaming, a market no one believed in at the time. The risk? Losing DVD revenue. The reward? Global dominance in digital content. A move where the downside was limited but the upside was limitless. That's not recklessness. That's strategy. Philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The outside world is full of risk. But true strength lies in your ability to stay clear-headed, unmoved by emotion, unshaken by fear. To know which risks are worth taking and which opportunities are worth chasing. So what's the practical step? Draw a matrix. The horizontal axis is worst loss. The vertical is best gain. Write down the 3 options you're considering, maybe switching careers, starting a side project, or investing in a new skill. Then ask yourself, which one makes you lose the least if you're wrong, but gain the most if you're right? That's your strategic move. Life will always be uncertain. But if you learn to choose your risks wisely, you won't just avoid failure, you'll start designing your own victories. If you've ever faced a low-loss, high-gain decision, share it in the comments. Low risk, high reward. Let's learn from each other. 6. Growth and learning strategies. Have you ever wondered why some people remember after learning just once, while you read it 3 times and still feel lost? Maybe the problem isn't how much you're learning, but how you're learning. More specifically, your learning strategy. In this chaotic world, skills become obsolete faster than ever. What remains is the ability to learn strategically, to learn less but learn better, to go slow but go deep, to absorb something once and carry it for life. The Stoics didn't chase after information. They built a strong mental framework so that everything new could be connected and transformed into insight. Instead of learning each new thing as an isolated point, they invested in meta-skills, skills that can transfer across domains and be reused over and over. For example, research shows that practicing music doesn't just help you play an instrument, it also boosts memory, focus, and emotional regulation. Likewise, playing chess improves mathematical reasoning. These are cross-transferable skills. Learn 1, use 10. And the common thread? They all train your ability to recognize patterns and build mental models, 2 core foundations for becoming a fast learner, a deep thinker, and a strategic mind. You don't need to start with too much. Just pick one meta-skill like mental modeling or causal reasoning and make a commitment to yourself. 30 minutes a day for 90 days. Don't learn to finish. Learn to embody it, like breathing. When you invest in the right foundation, everything above it becomes easier. You'll stop worrying about keeping up with the world because you'll have mastered how to learn. And that's an edge no one can easily match. If you've made it this far, the 6th chapter in your journey to design your life, I want to say thank you. Not everyone has the patience to look inward, to slow down, and think strategically. You've done that. And I believe, if you keep going, the next chapters will unlock even greater leverage. Right after this, we'll move into the next part, where you'll discover that learning fast isn't enough. You need the right people beside you, the right relationships to go far. Don't leave the video. Each chapter is a gear in motion, and you need the whole ecosystem to run. Keep going. Your life deserves to be designed with strategy. 7. Relationship and network strategy. Relationships aren't just about who you know, they're about the value you create within the network around you. Strategic thinkers don't build a dry contact list, they grow a garden. A garden takes time, it needs consistent care, but in return it grows, flourishes, and bears fruit over the long term. When you treat relationships as an ecosystem rather than scattered name tags, you start building depth, not just staying in touch, but connecting the dots, unlocking shared value. It's the same in relationships. What matters isn't who you know in name, but how you're experienced. Are you someone who brings value, who connects others, or someone who only consumes? Epictetus reminded us that the essence of any relationship is shaped by actions and perception, not social labels or Facebook friend counts. Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn, once described himself as a super connector. He didn't maintain relationships to keep them for himself. He actively introduced person A to person B when he saw potential synergy. Not because he was nice, but because he understood a deeper logic. Helping others connect is the most powerful way to increase the value of the network you're a part of. A small action, a well-timed introduction email, can create a boomerang effect, coming back to you in the form of unexpected opportunities. So start like a gardener. Each week, write down one person you know, then think about who you could introduce them to for mutual benefit. Send one email a day, not to ask for anything, but to plant a seed. A year from now, you'll have a thriving garden, not just deep relationships, but a strategic ecosystem where value moves both horizontally and vertically. Don't ask, "Who am I missing?" Ask, "What connections am I creating?" Because reactive people look for relationships. Strategic people build a living network around them. 8. Career and work strategy. Cal Newport once said something that sounds counterintuitive: don't follow your passion. In his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, he points out that passion is not the starting point, it's the result. Passion doesn't fall from the sky. It emerges when you become exceptionally good at something valuable. When you possess rare skills, you gain the power to choose. You gain autonomy, and within that autonomy, you begin to feel that your work matters. It's no longer just a way to make a living. It becomes the foundation for a life worth designing. With strategic thinking, work isn't just a list of tasks. It's a system you intentionally build. A career moat, a protective barrier that shields you from competition, crisis, and irrelevance. A moat isn't a degree. It's the combination of rare skills, trusted networks, and personal credibility. If you're good at one thing, you can be a freelancer. But if you possess in-demand skills, backed by a reliable network and a strong personal brand, you become irreplaceable. To achieve that, you need to think like a strategist. Step away from the whirlwind of daily busyness. Ask yourself, what is the $1,000 per hour skill in your field? What skill, if you mastered it, could place you in the top 1% within the next 12 months? And if you know the answer, begin that journey. Treat it like a startup. Log your progress, measure quality, iterate and optimize. This isn't a race against others, it's a promise you make to yourself to stop drifting, to stop reacting. Each day, do one thing, no matter how small, to build that moat. You don't need to see the entire path ahead, just the next step you can control and why it matters. The Stoics never rejected success. They only rejected blind success, the kind that makes you lose yourself. So if you want to design a purposeful life, don't wait for passion. Start with skill. And once you've built that foundation, a stable career, control over your time, recognition of your value, the next question will naturally arise. What will you do with that financial freedom? Let's move forward with financial strategy, where we learn how to use money as a tool for liberation, not limitation. 9. Financial strategy integration. Many people think of money as a scoring game. how much you have, how fast you earn it, and how you rank compared to others. But Stoicism doesn't view money that way. With a strategic mindset, money isn't the end goal. It's a system, something you design to serve the life you want to live, not to show off or compete. If built right, your personal financial system should work like a value-generating machine, not a countdown clock draining your account balance. Warren Buffett, a man of extreme restraint and calm, is living proof of this mindset. He doesn't chase money in a frantic rush. Instead, he built an entire financial engine, investing in quality businesses, maintaining iron discipline in capital use, and most importantly, leveraging insurance float as a smart tool, creating a snowball effect where money earns more money, faster and larger over time. And this isn't just for billion-dollar fund managers. You too can start building your own financial system from the smallest daily choices. But before you build, you need a clear map. Redraw your cash flow. Keep it simple. What's coming in, what's going out, which flows are stagnant, which are asleep. How much of your money is just sitting still in your bank account, in unused purchases, or worse, silently leaking away without your control? Then ask a strategic question. What would happen in the next 3 years if I redirected 20% of that flow into something that generates returns? You don't need to make risky investments or dive into markets you don't understand. Just start shifting it into your personal money-printing machine. Learn a new income-generating skill, buy high-quality books, invest long-term in sustainable funds, or build reusable digital assets. A Stoic doesn't try to predict the market. They do one thing: design a system they can control, so whether the winds blow against them or with them, they keep moving forward. If money has ever felt like a source of anxiety, try seeing it as a flow of energy you can design. And if you've let your money fall asleep, today could be the day you wake it up. Drop a comment, "Wake up sleeping money," if you're ready to take action. 10. Health and energy strategy. When life becomes a game of strategy, energy is the queen, not because it moves the fastest, but because it opens up countless directions that no other piece can. You may have a clear vision, a flawless plan, and bold goals. But if your energy runs out, all of it will remain nothing more than motionless notes in a notebook. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastering yourself isn't just about staying composed when provoked. It's about knowing when to rest, when to sleep, and when to stop. An exhausted mind can no longer tell the difference between what's important and what's urgent, and no one can play the long game when they're barely surviving the day. Arianna Huffington, founder of the Huffington Post, is a vivid example. In 2007, she collapsed from exhaustion, hit her head on her desk, and woke up with her face covered in blood. That tragedy didn't fade into silence. It led to Thrive Global and the Sleep Revolution movement, laying the foundation for a new generation of leaders who understand that sustainable performance doesn't come from burning bright for 3 months, it comes from recharging every single day. God didn't place us in this world to race like machines. When you neglect your health, you're not just damaging your body, you're disrupting the spiritual core within. Energy is not the goal, it's the vehicle that enables you to live out the role you were given. So start with one simple act. Set up a daily battery test. Did you get a full 7 hours of sleep? Is your heart rate variability, HRV, steady? Did you take at least 3 short breaks today to breathe deeply? If even one of these is flashing red, postpone any major decisions. A mind that hasn't been recharged should observe, not steer. Designing your life doesn't begin with a 10-year goal. It begins with having enough battery to stay clear-headed today. 11. Time and focus strategy. Bill Gates has a peculiar habit he has maintained consistently for decades. Think week. A week-long retreat he takes twice a year to a secluded cabin in the woods. No email, no meetings, no social media. Just him and over 100 tech reports from engineers and researchers around the world. And it's in these seemingly disconnected moments that ideas like Internet Explorer, Azure and Microsoft's cloud-first strategy were born. This reveals a vital truth in life strategy. It's not just about managing your time, it's about managing your attention. In a world flooded with pings, notifications, and constant messages, many people have calendars packed to the minute, but never experience a single moment of true depth. They are always busy, but rarely focused. And without focus, even 24 hours a day just becomes a diluted repeat of yesterday. Those who live by the Stoic philosophy understand this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." True strength doesn't lie in how many hours you have, but in where you direct your attention and what you choose to ignore. Every attention decision is an investment. Are you planting seeds for the future or simply burning energy in reaction? Chris Bailey, author of The Productivity Project, once spent an entire year studying his own productivity. His biggest takeaway: nothing is more effective than protecting a block of deep time each morning, 3 hours without distraction, no phone, no meetings. In the evening, he follows a short ritual. List 3 tasks for tomorrow, then mentally shut down completely. The brain needs emptiness to regenerate depth. That's why the time and focus strategy isn't about squeezing every minute. It's about creating intentional space for deep thinking. When you master your attention, you're not just working, you're creating. Did you know James Dyson spent 15 years and built 5,126 prototypes before inventing the world's first bagless vacuum cleaner? He didn't do it through sudden flashes of inspiration, but through a deliberate, systematic approach to innovation. Why was he able to do it? Let's explore that in the next section. 12. Creativity and innovation strategy. There's a common misconception that creativity is a gift reserved for the few born geniuses, flashes of brilliance appearing out of nowhere. But from a strategic perspective, and especially through the lens of Stoicism, creativity isn't magic. It's something that can be built. Not accidental, but patterned. Not about waiting, but about designing. Look closer, and you'll see that creativity is cross-pollination, the intersection of disciplines, perspectives, and experiences. A good strategist doesn't try to think new, but learns how to connect things that seem unrelated. When you apply systems thinking to the creative process, you stop relying on inspiration and start building a creative engine. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That line isn't just a mindset. It's a creative framework. Every failure, when documented and reflected on, becomes a step upward. There are no shortcuts to breakthroughs, only loops, designed with intention. So if you're working on a new project, set one rule: no more than 10 days per prototype. Don't aim for perfection, just enough to test your hypothesis. And more importantly, keep a learning log after each iteration. What you're seeking isn't in the outcome, but in the patterns hidden within the feedback. Creative strategy isn't about intuition. It's how you structure your experiments to produce non-linear results. And if you think creativity is the final phase, think again. Because in the end, what determines whether you move forward or fall back is your decision. In the next piece, we'll explore how to cut through the noise, read the map of your life clearly, and make decisions not driven by emotion, but by strategic vision. Don't miss it. 13. Decision-making enhancement. Your life isn't shaped by grand, dramatic moments. It's shaped by hundreds of small decisions repeated every single day. What you choose to read in the morning, how you respond to a message, where you place your attention. These are all opening moves in a chain of events that follow. This is the essence of decision stacking. No decision stands alone. Each one is a link in a chain reaction, paving the way or blocking it for the future you're building. Someone who understands this doesn't make decisions just to get them over with. They think like a strategic architect. They don't ask, is this right or wrong? They ask, where does this lead? That's exactly why Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater, didn't rely solely on instinct to run the world's largest hedge fund. He built a system of algorithms that mirrored his thinking, a clear set of principles that could be repeated, tested, and refined. Every decision was examined through the lens of data, logic, and distilled emotion. Not to replace human judgment, but to protect it from its own volatility. Obstacles aren't roadblocks, they're part of the path. A hard decision isn't a reason to give up. It's an invitation to upgrade your mental operating system. Instead of reacting emotionally, design principles that help you calmly navigate through noise. A practical way to start is to create a 5-question checklist before any major decision. Anything that costs more than 1 hour of your time or over $100 of your budget. What are the long-term risks? What's the best possible upside? Does this align with the life vision I'm pursuing? What data or experience supports this judgment? What is my deeper intuition saying? You can't control every outcome, but you can improve your decision-making system, and that's what will shape the future you live in. Strategic thinking isn't about picking the right thing every time. It's about consistently choosing based on a logic you trust and can train. You've just gone through 13 strategic ecosystems, key gears that link vision, decisions, environment, habits, and outcomes before looping back to reinforce your vision. These aren't just random tips. Each part is a module, and when combined, they form a system that helps you not just react to life, but design it. Remember, every strategic action is a moment where you design your future instead of being shaped by it. And in the most important project of your life, you're not just a player, you're the architect. Now it's your turn. Which chapter do you feel is your weakest, and are you ready to start building up over the next 7 days? Drop a comment to let me know where you are on this journey. If you found this video helpful, like it, share it, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming mind maps. Hit the bell for notifications